my brother handed me after our father's funeral was not a hug.
It was a binder.
A black 3-ring binder labeled in Mark's neat block letters, estate items. He set it on the kitchen table like he was closing a sale, while my sister Janet folded napkins and my younger brother Ryan checked his phone.
My father had been gone less than 48 hours.
I had spent 7 years measuring pills, calling insurance offices, cooking meals he barely touched, and sleeping in a recliner outside his bedroom because he got scared when the house was too quiet.
Mark visited on holidays.
Janet called on Sundays. Ryan came by when he needed Dad's truck.
But somehow they were the practical ones.
And I was the sentimental one. That was the word Mark used when he told me what Dad had left me. "Ellen, you know the diner always meant something to you," he said. "Dad probably thought you'd appreciate it."
Price's Diner. A closed building on the old highway outside Mill Creek, Kansas, with cracked booths, a dead neon sign, and a roof that leaked whenever the weather got honest. It had been shut down for 9 years, ever since Dad's hand started shaking too badly.
Mark got the house.
Janet got part of the savings.
Ryan got Dad's old truck.
And I got the diner nobody wanted.
They said it like they were being kind, like they were giving me a memory instead of taxes, repairs, and a building even the county assessor barely cared about. Janet touched my arm and said, "Maybe it'll be good for you, something to keep you busy."
I almost laughed.
I had been busy keeping our father alive.
But I didn't say that. I signed where Mark pointed. I took the folder. I thanked them because that was what I had been trained to do, carry the weight, then apologize for needing both hands. 2 days later, I drove out to the diner with a cardboard box of Dad's things, his reading glasses, his watch, heart medicine, and the weekly pill case I had filled every Sunday night.
I went there to take pictures for a realtor.
That was the truth. I would sell the place as is, pay off what I could, and try to become a person again at 59. The front door stuck when I opened it. Inside, the air smelled like dust, old grease, and cold coffee. The red stools were still lined up along the counter. Behind the register, Dad's handwriting was taped to the wall.
Leave the coffee on.
I was carrying his medicine box to the back room when something scraped against my palm.
A small key was taped to the bottom, hidden under yellowed medical tape.
I tried it in the register.
Nothing.
The pantry cabinet.
Nothing. Then I looked at the narrow stairs behind the kitchen, leading to the locked room upstairs. Dad never let any of us up there. He said it was storage.
The key turned.
At the top of the stairs was not storage. It was a clean little room with a folded cot, sealed blankets, towels stacked on a chair, and a notebook on the desk.
On the first page, in my father's handwriting, were the words,
"Keep the room ready. You never know who has nowhere to go."
That was when I understood the diner had not been left to me because it was worthless.
It had been left to me because my father knew I was the only one who would ask why that room existed. For the first few days after I found the room upstairs, I told myself not to make it mean too much.
Grief does strange things to ordinary objects. A key becomes a message. A notebook becomes a confession. A room with a cot becomes proof that your father had an entire life you never understood.
So I did what I had always done. I cleaned. I swept the diner floor until dust rose in gray clouds. I wiped the counter with hot water and dish soap. I opened the windows because the place smelled like 9 years of closed doors.
Price's Diner had been my father's kingdom once. When I was little, I did homework in the back booth while he poured coffee for farmers, truck drivers, mechanics, and women who came in alone and sat where they could see the door. Dad knew every order before people said it. 2 eggs over easy, wheat toast, black coffee.
But after the interstate opened, traffic moved 18 miles west, and the old highway went quiet. Then Dad's hands started shaking, then his knees got bad. Then the diner closed, one slow piece at a time. I was the one who noticed.
Mark noticed bank statements.
Janet noticed whether Dad sounded cheerful on the phone.
Ryan noticed when the truck needed gas.
I noticed when Dad stopped buttoning his shirt all the way. I noticed when he called the toaster the mailbox. I noticed when he started sleeping with the hallway light on. That was my normal life for 7 years. Morning pills, oatmeal, blood pressure, laundry, insurance letters, doctor visits, grocery lists, another form, another hold message, another night listening for footsteps that meant he had forgotten where the bathroom was.
My siblings called it helping.
I called it my life because after a while I forgot it had ever been anything else.
2 mornings after I opened the upstairs room, Mark called. "Ellen, I heard you've been spending time at the diner."
He said it lightly, but Mark never wasted a casual sentence. His voice always had a handle on it, something he expected you to pick up.
"I'm cleaning," I said. "What?" "I don't know yet." There was a pause, small but sharp.
Well, don't make any decisions without talking to us.
I stood behind the counter, looking at the old register and the taped note in Dad's handwriting. "Leave the coffee on."
Mark, the diner was left to me.
"I know that," he said quickly, "but Dad's affairs affect all of us." That was how he talked, not wrong enough to fight, not right enough to trust.
Later, Janet texted me 3 listings for small apartments near her in Denver. She wrote, "This might be a fresh start." Then, 10 minutes later, "Maybe don't get too attached to that building."
Ryan called after dinner and asked if I had looked into land value yet. Not the roof, not the taxes, not whether I was okay. Land value.
That night, I went back upstairs and opened the guest notebook again. I only turned one page and saw initials, a date in January, and my father's careful note.
2 kids, bad storm, let them sleep, don't ask until morning.
I closed the book fast, like I had walked in on a prayer. Downstairs, the diner was dark except for street light leaking through the front window. For the first time, I wondered why my family was suddenly so interested in a place they had laughed off 3 days earlier.
And I wondered what else my father had kept behind locked doors. By the end of that week, I stopped calling the things as I found strange.
They were too organized for strange.
On Monday, I found canned soup in the pantry, each dated in my father's handwriting. The newest ones were from 6 months before he died, long after the diner closed, and long after he was too weak to shop unless I drove him. Either someone bought them, or he had saved them for someone specific.
On Tuesday, an old man named Gus knocked on the glass while I scraped tape off the front window.
"You open?" he asked. "Not really."
He nodded like that was enough permission and came in anyway. He wore a veteran's cap, carried coffee, and stood at the counter with his eyes on the stairs.
"You're Walter's girl," he said.
I know, he set the coffee down. "Your dad let me stay up there once. I had a VA appointment in Wichita and no money for a motel. He gave me the brown blanket because he said the blue one made everybody look dead."
I almost smiled, but my throat tightened first. Gus touched the counter and said, "Your father knew how to help without making a man feel small." After he left, I sat in the back booth and thought about that sentence.
Because my family had been making me feel small for years and calling it concern.
The first piece of the pattern was Mark. He always handled the documents. When Dad's license expired, Mark said it was simpler if he kept the truck keys. When tax letters came, Mark told me not to worry my head about them. After the funeral, he had a binder ready before I had even washed Dad's sheets. The second piece was Janet. She never refused to help directly. She just floated above the work. She sent caregiver articles, prayer emojis, and meal delivery links that did not serve our town. Her messages always started with, "I wish I could do more." But when Dad fell in the bathroom at 2 a.m., it was my hands under his arms.
The third piece was Ryan. He loved Dad loudly when other people were watching. He brought barbecue on Father's Day, took pictures, posted them, and left before the dishes were done. Twice, I found cash missing from Dad's wallet after Ryan visited. I told myself Dad had given it to him.
Maybe he had.
Maybe I had learned to explain everything away because the truth would have left me too angry to keep going. That afternoon, I opened the guest notebook again. The pages were not dramatic. Just initials, dates, and my father's plain notes.
MB plus 2 kids. Bad storm, let them sleep.
RL lost job. Gave him breakfast, said he could wash mugs if pride got in the way. Gus, VA appointment, brown blanket.
Then I found a grocery receipt tucked between 2 pages. It was from the same week Dad had missed a cardiology appointment. I remembered because Mark had said, "Ellen, you need to manage him better." I had cried in the pharmacy parking lot, blaming myself. But the receipt showed Dad had spent that morning buying diapers, soup, and children's cough medicine.
for someone upstairs. I sat there until the light changed.
My father had been weaker than I knew, but he had still been helping people, and I had been stronger than anyone admitted, but my family treated my strength like an unlimited service.
That was when the diner stopped feeling like a burden.
It started feeling like evidence. The real discovery did not happen in one dramatic moment.
It happened because Caleb Roy came by to check the wiring.
Caleb was an electrician whose father used to eat at the diner when work was slow. He said he owed Walter Price more breakfasts than he could count, so he would look around before I paid somebody to tell me the building was hopeless.
He was checking an outlet near the pantry when he stopped. "This panel's been opened before," he said.
I was sorting old menus at the counter. What panel?
He tapped a square section of wall behind the canned goods. The paint matched, but the screws were newer than the wood around them. Caleb removed them carefully, one at a time, and pulled the panel loose.
Inside was a metal recipe box.
Not money, not jewelry, not some secret fortune that would fix my life by sunset.
Just a gray metal box with my father's handwriting on a strip of masking tape.
For Ellen.
I sat on the pantry floor before I opened it because my knees had stopped trusting me.
Inside were papers folded with the same care Dad used for napkins at the counter, a copy of his will, the deed to the diner, old insurance forms, tax notices, repair receipts, a list of names from the upstairs notebook but with more detail beside them.
Not gossip, not secrets to expose.
Just enough to remember that these were people, not problems. At the bottom was a letter.
Dear Ellen,
"If you found this box, then you found the room. I should have told you about it. I should have told you a lot of things."
I stopped reading there the first time.
I could handle records. I could handle dust and broken lights, and my siblings' pretending concern was the same as love.
But my father apologizing from a piece of paper nearly broke me. When I finished the letter, I understood two things.
First, Dad had left the diner to me on purpose. Not because it was the smallest piece, and not because I was sentimental. He wrote that I was the only one who knew what it meant to keep showing up when nobody clapped for it.
Second, he knew he had let me carry too much. I folded the letter and put it back.
then I did something the old me would not have done.
I did not call Mark.
I wanted to. I wanted to read every line into the phone and make him hear our father choose me with clear eyes. But Martha Bell came in while I was still sitting on the floor, and when I told her what I had found, she said, "Don't argue from hurt, Ellen. Organize from facts."
So I did. I bought folders from the dollar store. I made one for the deed, one for the will, one for taxes, one for repairs, one for the upstairs room, one for every text and voicemail where Mark called the diner a liability until he thought it might be worth something.
I wrote a timeline of Dad's care, appointments, medication changes, hospital visits, nights I stayed, weekends Mark canceled, Sundays Janet called instead of coming.
It felt petty at first.
Then it felt like oxygen.
Martha gave me the name of Dana Whitaker, a retired attorney who volunteered 2 mornings a week at the county legal clinic. Dana did not promise me anything. I liked that about her.
She read the papers, asked for certified copies, and told me not to reopen the upstairs room as a place for people to sleep. "Your father had a good heart," she said, "but good hearts still need insurance." For the first time in my life, a boundary sounded like care. That evening, I emailed Mark, Janet, and Ryan.
I told them I was reviewing the diner's records with legal help. I told them all future conversations about the property needed to be in writing.
Then I turned on the coffee pot, sat beneath the dead neon sign, and waited for the first angry reply. Mark's angry reply came 13 minutes later. Not a phone call, not a visit, an email.
That alone told me my boundary had worked. He wrote that I was being dramatic, that legal help would only waste money, and that Dad would have hated seeing his children divided over a roadside building with plumbing problems.
For once, I did not answer right away.
Dana helped me request certified copies from the county, the deed, the will, the estate inventory Mark had signed, and the old tax records. None of it made the situation disappear. Paperwork never feels like a rescue when you are standing in a cold diner with a leaking roof and a coffee pot that hisses like it resents you.
But it made the ground under my feet a little more solid.
2 weeks later, we met in a small conference room behind the county legal clinic. Mark brought an attorney. Janet joined on video from Denver. Ryan sat with his arms crossed, staring at the table like it owed him money.
Dana did not give a speech. She simply laid out the records.
Dad's will had been witnessed and notarized. The diner was named separately and left to me directly. Mark had signed the estate inventory acknowledging it. No one had maintained the building except Dad and later me. No family money had gone into improving it.
Mark's attorney asked about Dad's mental state. Dana slid over appointment notes, medication lists, and the timeline I had made. It did not prove Dad had been perfect. It showed he had been consistent, evaluated, and still capable of making decisions when he signed.
That was enough to make the room quiet. There was no judge, no dramatic ruling. No one slammed a folder shut and destroyed my brother with one sentence. Mark's attorney only said, "I'll advise my client." That was the consequence, small, real, unsatisfying to anyone who wanted fireworks. But to me, it felt like the first door opening in years.
Outside, Janet called my phone. "I still think you're making this harder than it has to be," she said.
I looked across the parking lot at Mark getting into his car without looking at me.
Well, for 7 years, I told her. Easy meant I carried what everyone else put down. I'm done calling that peace. She did not apologize, not then.
Ryan did, sort of. A week later, he came by the diner and admitted he had been pushing the sale because he was behind on bills. The old version of me would have offered money I did not have. Instead, I gave him the number Dana had given me for a nonprofit credit counselor.
He looked embarrassed.
I let him be embarrassed. That was new for me.
The diner did not reopen with balloons or a line out the door. Caleb fixed the worst electrical issues. Martha helped me apply for the permits I actually needed. The upstairs rooms stayed closed to overnight guests because Dana was right. Kindness without boundaries can become another kind of damage.
So I opened 3 mornings a week. Coffees, eggs, toast, pancakes if the griddle behaved.
Gus came first, always taking the booth near the window. Martha put a bulletin board by the door with job training flyers and winter coat notices. Some mornings we had 4 customers, some mornings we had 12. Nobody clapped, nobody called it a miracle.
But the coffee stayed on.
One evening, just before closing, a young woman came in with 2 children and asked if I had any soup left. I did. When she searched her purse too long, I recognized the look. I had worn it myself.
"Pay next time you're through," I said.
She stared at me. "Are you sure?"
I looked at the stairs, at the locked room, at the counter my father had wiped down for half his life.
Yes, I said. That's what this place is for. I used to think being useful meant letting people take all of me.
Now I know better.
A light left on is not the same as a door with no lock.